came across the chant, never heard it before, and I couldn't get it out of my mind. I couldn't. It just would, which is great. And when I saw the translation of it, which was the description of God, each one a description, each a je, a le, each one of these words that we're saying in the chant translate into the description or characteristics of source, of the source energy of the divine. So it was called a je, a le, and it was written by the Guru Govinda Singh, who was the 10th Guru of the Sikhs. The chant, of course, is not in Sanskrit. It was in the Gurmukhi language. And here's what it invokes. First, it invokes gratitude. It invokes a tremendous amount of gratitude and the acknowledgement of this source that is like, wow, mind-blowing, right? So first it acknowledges that, and it's this gratitude. But it's also a powerful mantra that charges the radiant body and activates the higher chakras. And it lifts you up when you're in a state of despair. So it's really specific for when we're feeling angst, when we're feeling depressed, when we're feeling out of sorts, so to speak. And what it does is it dissolves any challenges in front of us. And it transforms depression and anger specifically. So if you go on YouTube, you can find a J-A-L-A, A-J-A-I, A-L-A-I, and the melody is not mine, and it's Marve Siva. But you'll see it, The minute you like YouTube that, you know, you search that, boom, it'll come up. I also put I made like 4 copies or 5 copies. They're in the back with the translation. Now this is a daily prayer for Sikhs, and it's called Jap Sahib. And this particular mantra is like, it's this laundry list of the divine's awesome qualities. And I felt like when I did it, and I've been listening to it now nonstop for the last like 48 hours. I'm so serious. Like I have it on repeat song on my iTunes, and so it's just like I just keep boom, boom, you know, over and over and over and over again. And I was gonna just play it and not play it. I was just gonna have you listen to it on a CD, but then I thought, I like really love what the feeling, the higher chakra charging that I get when I do it. So I wanted to do it. I was being selfish. I wanted to do it. But what happens with this chant is it's like sitting in a space capsule and turning switches on one at a time to activate the engines and take you into orbit. Yogi Bhajan, from the Sikh tradition, and Kundalini Yoga teaches that whenever you're feeling in this place of uncertainty or doubt or worry or concern or loneliness, or when you just need encouragement or reassurance, and if you're like me, I need constant encouragement, constant reassurance that you're never alone, that you're in the hands of the divine, protected and cared for, then you should chant or listen to this sacred mantra. And what it reminded me of is this wonderful story from the Bhagavad Gita, which is this story of determination and earnestness about a mother sparrow. Have I ever shared that story with you? So I totally relate because I'm like the sparrow in the story. All right, and maybe you'll be like the sparrow too. So this mother sparrow goes out and she lays her eggs, and then suddenly the ocean comes in. I guess it must have been low tide or something, and then high tide comes in and covers the eggs. She can't find them. She's distraught. She's out of her mind with worry. She wants to find the eggs, you know? And so sparrow, what the sparrow does is she says to the ocean, she pleads with the ocean, please go back so that I can find the eggs. But the ocean doesn't consider her appeal. Doesn't that seem like us? When life on life's terms comes in like a wave, and we're like struggling with the circumstance. Go back, I don't want this to happen, don't let this happen. Here comes the ocean, no, go back. But the ocean doesn't listen, right? Because life on life's terms comes in like a wave, and it doesn't listen to the appeal. So the sparrow decides, this is why I relate to the sparrow, because The sparrow decides, I have this figured out. I know what I have to do. I'm going to take a blade of grass, I'm going to dip it in the ocean, I'm going to flick it off, and I am going to remove the ocean myself. My will, that's my will. That's ego. That's the ego mind saying, I'm going to handle this. I'm going to do this, right? So, oh my goodness, she is beyond determined, and she has perseverance, and she has vigilance, and she has this earnest self-effort. Then she prays out to the divine. She prays out help. She asks for some help. And all of a sudden, here comes Garuda, which is this bird, this big gigantic bird that Vishnu rides on. It's actually Vishnu's vehicle. It's Vishnu's ride, so to speak. So Garuda, big giant, big giant bird. And Garuda comes in and sees the sparrow and has compassion for the sparrow. Another important part of the story, sometimes we watch others, we watch each other, and we get like judgmental about them. Let me keep it in the eye. I get judgmental about other people and what they're doing, what they shouldn't be doing, right? Instead of having compassion. Because when I judge, I'm separating. But when I have compassion, there's oneness, there's wholeness, there's no separateness when I have compassion. So Garuda had compassion for the sparrow. Instead of saying, this nut thinks that she's going to remove the ocean, blade of grass at a time, that's never going to happen, right? Instead of Garuda saying that, or thinking that, and having a higher knowledge, right? About the whole plan here, instead she has compassion for the sparrow. So she says to the sparrow, here's a mantra to say. And it doesn't even matter what the mantra is. And a mantra doesn't have to be in the Hindu or the Sikh, or the Catholic, or the Protestant, or the Jewish. Because you know what? We find mantras, and we find the actual repetition of divine name, and we find beads that people use as part of ritual. We find that in all faiths, no matter what they are. Rosary beads, mala beads the Buddhists use, the Muslims use also the mala beads, but they call it a dhikr instead of japa. And they say the word of Allah. And they say Allah. And Allah, in the Sufi tradition, is interpreted as no thing. You say, what? No thing? Like nothing? Like God is nothing? No thing. Beyond name, beyond form. The Tao Te Ching talks about, if you think you named God, that ain't God. God can't be named. This divine source can't be named. That's why I love that chant so much, because it goes into detail about the description of God. You see, we can't know God. I can't know God, but I can experience God. And the way I understand or experience God isn't here. And God knows I try with the blade of grass trying to understand God. I'm like almost finished with my master's in holistic theology now, and studying Kabbalah, Course in Miracles, mystery theology, African theology. But then all I have to do is hear the chant, and I experience God. And I don't even know why, because I don't really know that language, right? So I have to go look at the translation, and I go, oh. It's the energy of the chant. It's the energy of it, right? So Garuda, back to Garuda and the bird, gives a chant, gives a mantra to the bird. It says, say this. Don't stop doing that. Don't stop doing that. But do it while you're doing the mantra, right? So this always reminded me of the blade of grass is kind of like her mala beads. Bead at a time, a bead at a time, right? Keep on saying it, keep on saying it. So you open up your heart to the energy of the repetition of the characteristics of the divine, whatever you want to say. God, Jesus, Buddha, Allah, Brahman, Om, I am that. I am that. Whatever it is, doesn't matter. It's the heart piece. It's the opening of the heart chakra, right? So here's what happens in the story. Garuda leaves, and she's so pleased because she sees the earnestness of this little sparrow. I totally relate to this sparrow, man, because I am so serious. Like, I'm so earnest and serious, and I get frustrated. I get really frustrated because I think I'm doing it. And then I have this tug of war, my will, God's will, my will, God's will, right? But I'm so earnest because I really want to be a better person. Like, at the end of the day, like, that's really all I want to do. I just want to be better. I know that when I'm in judgment, I'm not in compassion. Like, I know that when I'm in anger, I'm not in forgiveness. You know, I know that when I'm in fear, listen, I can still be afraid and have faith, but I'm totally focused when I'm in fear on the future. And I'm not in the now. And when I'm in the now and I look and I go, where are my feet? My feet are right here, right now, and all is well. I'm okay. It's okay. Then I'm trusting. Then I'm trusting that divine grace, and I can fall into that grace. Fall back into the hands of the divine energy. So here's what happens. Garuda is so pleased. She's like, I love this little bird. This bird is amazing, right? And then she leaves, and when she leaves with her wings, whoosh, she takes the ocean with her. Ah, divine grace. So when I take one step towards God, or divine, or source, or I always wondered, what does God call God's self? Because we've named God, you know what I mean? But for lack of a better word, when I take one step towards God, God takes 1,000 steps toward me and lifts me up, right? So listen to this. Here's, and I said it during the chant, but Ajay Ale, Abe Abe. So Ajay Ale, invincible, indestructible, fearless, unchanging, Abu, Aju, unformed, unborn, Anas, Akas, imperishable, Aganj, Abanj, unbreakable. I love that. I love that. Because in this embodiment and in this Maya, everything breaks. Everything. You buy something brand new, and 3 months later, boom. I know, it's planned obsolescence. It's actually part of the economic structure of our consumerism society. It's supposed to break. It's not supposed to last too long, right? But everything breaks. People break. Jobs break. Relationships break. Things break. Things change. Everything's changing. That's what the Buddha said. Guess what? Life is suffering. Why? Because everything is changing and everything is breaking. But the divine source, the description of the divine is that it is unbreakable. It is unchanging. It's beyond birth. It's beyond karma. See, because karma is important. I want to make sure that what I'm doing, I'm putting out to the universe, is goodness. I want to return that Publix card. It's so annoying. And isn't there like somebody has a job to do that anyway? That's the ego mind. That's my ego. I don't know about you, but I have like these two things going on. That's not your job. Someone has that job. Someone likes to go outside and take the carts in. And then the other voice is like, but that's into separateness again. That's separating again. That's saying there's a difference between me and the person that works at Publix. That's thinking that name and form exist. Return the card. I know that divine grace is always working. It's always at work. Grace is something that comes to us when we find ourselves completely available, completely open. The sparrow was earnest. It's got to start with that open-mindedness and that willingness, that earnestness, that honest effort. And when I'm willing to entertain the possibility that I may not know everything. What about that? I don't like that, because I like to be right, you know? But there's a saying in recovery, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? I want to be at peace. I want to be a better person. So in this gap of not knowing, in the suspension of my will, in the falling into and falling back into the hands of this grace, this amazing grace, right? This divine grace, the grace that Garuda took the ocean away with, I get the magic of the ocean being taken away for me. And I see the hidden eggs. The hidden eggs get revealed. And what's the hidden eggs? The hidden eggs is my blessed self. It's the remembering of who I really am. You see, I can get caught up in the minutia of all the stuff that I have going on in my life. We don't have enough time. We'd have to do a workshop on it. So I can tell you all the stuff, all of the nitty-gritty of what's going on in my life, you know? But when I lay back and fall back into the hands of the divine, really fall back. Did you ever do that into the water? Or into someone's hands? They used to do this in like a team building exercise. You fall back. You have to trust. In order to do that, you've got to trust that you're going to get caught. And I know I'm going to get caught because I've seen it happen in my life every single time. So why do I forget this power? Why do I mistrust? Why do I doubt? Because I'm human. I love that part that you guys read at the beginning. I love that. You said, we welcome your humanness. Thank God. Thank God, because I'm not there yet. You know, I'm not. I'm trying. I'm that sparrow. And sometimes I get confused and I think that the more I try, the harder I try, the more I'll be at peace. And that's not it. That's not it. Open hands, fall back. So I'm going to close with this story. My little dog, my little Shanti, and that's not really a good name for her because she's like this, you know, lizard hunter, crazy, you know, not more like a Durga or a Shiva than a Shanti. But anyway, she got hurt and she got to develop a fungal infection in her eye, and it's been going on now for a long time. Did I share this with you already? It's going on really long, like too long. And I got to put 8 drops a day, and I got to put ointments in 4 times a day, and I got charts, and I got PowerPoints on it, and all this, you know, whatever. So it's got me. It's got me. It's got me in the grips. It's the ocean. My eggs are missing. And every time I come, she's got a cone on her head, and she hates the cone, and she can't go out, and I have to walk her. And every time I come near her with, it's time, Shanti, come here, baby, come here, I love you, come here, she cowers. She never did that before. And she cowers, and she's got the thing on her head, and she hates it, and it made me think about God. I'm Shanti. I got the cone on my head. I got a cone on my head, and things keep happening, and people keep putting stuff in my eye, and I don't understand, and I don't understand. Because I keep looking at Shanti going, baby, I love you. I'm doing this because I love you, you know? There's a plan here. There's a plan, and there's an end in sight, hopefully, right, to this madness. You're going to get better. It's going to be okay. Trust me. But how does she understand? She's a dog. They're very smart. But she doesn't understand this, right? She doesn't understand what I'm doing. All she knows is, I got this friggin' thing on my head. I hate it, and why don't you keep coming at me with stuff and putting in my eye? Why? Stop, right? That's all she knows. It's the ocean for her, right? But God does that with us. And I walk around with a cone when stuff happens, and I don't understand. But I gotta trust. I gotta trust in this divine grace that all will be well, that everything is working out exactly the way it's supposed to. I'm safe. There's a bigger plan. And that Garuda is on the way, as long as I keep on doing my part, as long as I do my self-effort.